Hello and welcome to Gemasign. My name is David Weinstein and I'm here to describe to you how to analyze two stones. They look fairly similar. You can't really see them in these vials, but I'll show them to you on the platform when I move the camera. One stone is a natural sapphire. It's been heated. I don't know that I know the location of the origin. And the other one is a Tanzanite, which is definitely heated, and it's from Tanzania. Tanzanite is known in its really fine form to mimic that of a sapphire, and it can actually be confused with a sapphire if you don't have the proper testing equipment or you don't know how to test for it. The Ratna device, which was developed by Gemasign, is perfect for this type of separation. What I'll do today is I'll do a separation between these two, and we'll show how Ratna is able to clearly identify which stone is sapphire and which stone is Tanzanite. Let's start with one of the two stones. I'll pick up the sapphire first. It's about a 5mm stone. We're going to put it on the broadband, the white light source. This will help give us the color and something about the color of the stone, what causes the color. You basically just put it over the light source, put the probe about 1 centimeter above it, and I've already got the program keyed in here into my computer. I'm pressing capture for the broadband source and bring the probe a little closer. That little bling, I'm going to make it a little louder for you, just tells me when I've successfully captured it. Normally I like to have a little stronger intensity than I've got right there. So let me scan again. Perfect. So the number I'm coming up with intensity, which I'll show you, is about 15,000 for this stone, which means that the signal that's going to the detector is strong, and it's capturing the light that's coming from the stone as opposed to electronic noise, which is sort of inherent in the machine. Now I'm capturing the ultraviolet. All right, beautiful. Alright, not bad. It's got a little bit of leakage from the original source, but let's see if that plays an important role. And lastly, the laser source. Okay, put that on there. Cover up the UV. Normally when you put these sapphires on the laser source, the stone will actually turn a little red. I get a little red streak in the stone. I try to actually point the probe at that streak and capture it. On some stones, in the laser light, the thing lights up, the whole stone will light up. So you don't have to go for the streak. It looks like it's a little bit too weak to get a signal out, which is sometimes the case. Not a problem. We'll have to just ask the algorithm to look for a stone that only has 2 light sources and not 3. Obviously 3 is a little bit easier to hit as a target. Alright, so I've captured 2 of the sources, the broadband and the UV. Let me just bring my camera over so you can see what it is I'm talking about here. Okay, so I'm going to increase the magnification. Okay, so here's what my screen looks like. So I'm going to get my mouse here. There we go. Alright, so this is the general screen that one works with. This is where you indicate that you're working with a colored stone. This is where you would click if you're working with a colorless one. So this is the button for scan the broadband, scan the UV, and scan the laser. Now as you can see, there's a little box here that says ignore laser. Because I didn't get a signal, I just tell it, I click on that box to tell it there is no laser scan. And this tells me basically just the intensity of the signal. Anything over 10,000 is great. I like to keep it at closer to 20 to 40, but again, the outside of that range is still good. You can take a look at the spectra. That's what the broadband looks like. And this is what my UV looks like. And that's that leakage thing I said about a little bit of source UV coming through there. I don't think it's going to make a big difference in the analysis, but let's give it a try. Okay, so here's a button that says do the analysis. Now there's about 20,000 spectra up in the cloud currently. So what the algorithm will do, it'll compare these two spectra, the one for the broadband and one for the UV, with one single stone, the best single stone in the library, in the cloud, that matches these. Okay, there's the answer. Natural sapphire, which is correct, and heat treated, which is correct. And it found that correlation with that stone in the library to be 94% correlation. If I want to see which stone specifically it is, I can click more information. It tells me that first result is based on a Gemasign number 462, and enlarge it there, 46632. And see, it actually found it was the same match on both the broadband and on the UV. The next one is a Tanzanite. Again, like, as I said, it can sometimes be confused with Tanzanite, but the big difference you see, 94% confidence here, dropping down to 84 to the Tanzanite. Amethyst gets in there because of probably the color, and also this amethyst gets in there for color. But clearly, the stone that matches the best at 94% confidence is a natural sapphire, which has been heated. Okay, so that's great. Let me bring this back down to where we have a view. There we go. And we'll get on to doing the analysis for the second stone. Okay, that should do it. Yeah, that's probably better. Okay, let me put this sapphire back in its holder and put the cover back on and get on to the second stone. Now this stone here is one looks like a very similar type of stone, similar looking, but a different material. Just drop it in the light source here. Okay, and so sometimes there's a little disc that I can put it on to balance the stone on top of it. This analysis I'm just doing by dropping it right in the light well. It won't fall through because there's a lens there. I'll clear the screen and go for the analysis. Okay, so I'm doing the broadband scan now. There it is, the 13,000, sounds great. And take it out of there, put it in the UV. And UV scan. Again, I'm holding this just a little bit higher because I'm actually putting the stone in the well. I'm actually getting a lot more light into the stone. So I'm going to hold the probe a little further away. I got 11,000 as my intensity. That's very good. And cover that up and go for the laser. Now, Tanzanite normally doesn't give a laser. It can, but normally it doesn't. Let's see what I can get here. No, not much going on there. Let me put it on the platform. I do have a little platform with a hole in it. Let's that little beam of the laser light come through. Okay. Okay, got a little streak of light coming through the stone. Okay. Yeah, oh, there it is. Excellent. Okay. See if we can capture that. It says it's too weak. Too weak. And too weak. Usually I give it about 3 tries. Then I bail out. I'm going to click that ignore button again. Okay, well, let's take a look at those spectra. Okay, position this. Crank up the intensity. Okay, here we are. So there's my 13,000 on my broadband. That's what it looks like. Very characteristic peak for Tanzanite. And the scan for the UV. A nice clean, no leakage here. You see there's no little leakage, it's 507. That's good. But that's a very clean spectra for the UV. And again, there's no laser. So let's go for the result. So based on just, again, the analysis of the broadband and the UV, it'll tell me exactly what the best match is in the cloud. And we're looking for it to recognize this stone as being Tanzanite. There it is. A natural Tanzanite is exactly what it tells me here. It tells me that the result is strong. It tells me the confidence is 95%, which is very good. And again, if I want to see how the other results came out, I can click here and here. Yeah, Tanzanite was the first choice, Tanzanite was the second choice, Tanzanite was the third choice, Amethyst, probably again because of the color, is the fourth, and a Sapphire as a fifth. But you can see the difference, 95% confidence here on the first two, which tell me it's Tanzanite, dropping all the way down to an 85, which is a whopping difference in terms of these percentages. All right, so there you have it. The Ratna device was successfully able. Oh, let me close this back down 1 second. Okay, here we go. So the Ratna device was successful in identifying which stone was Tanzanite and which one was Sapphire by a very clear margin. So a retail jeweler with a device like this will never be fooled when someone comes in and wants to sell them a stone that looks a lot like a sapphire, but in fact is really just a Tanzanite. Not to take anything away from the beauty and the desirability for Tanzanite, but it doesn't command the same price as you would expect for a sapphire. Anyways, I appreciate you coming and viewing my video. There is a subscribe button if you'd like to subscribe to future videos, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much for coming. Bye.